each screening, there was a talking going on. And I was like watching the audience going, what? The second time it happened, again, third time, talking in this one particular spot. And I'm thinking, what, did we do something wrong?
I called her out. I was like, Ellen's not that nice.
This was after you went on the show?
After I went on the show.
So you worked for Ellen as well?
Yeah, I did the first 2 years on that show.
And she was.
She was rough. She was the C word. Yeah.
The Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a
Jim Caviezel has sparked a wave of intense online discussion after claiming he knew troubling things about people connected to Ellen DeGeneres. And when some viewers look at unrelated events like the tragic crash involving Hetch, the passing of individuals like Stephen Twitch Boss, and other widely discussed incidents, they start drawing connections and asking questions. Even though there is no verified evidence linking these events together, and most of these claims remain speculation, amplified online rather than confirmed facts.
DeGeneres feeling the heat as more employees, past and present, from her show say that they were working in a toxic environment. Some Hollywood actors also speaking out against the talk show host now.
For years, Ellen built a public image around kindness and positivity, becoming one of the most recognizable faces on daytime television. But that image faced serious challenges when workplace allegations surfaced around the Ellen DeGeneres show, prompting investigations and major internal changes. And while Jim Caviezel's recent comments have added fuel to the conversation, the core of the controversy still traces back to those earlier reports about the show's environment rather than any proven connection to broader theories circulating online.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece. He was like, she's a monster.
Multiple former employees and guests have spoken about their experiences, describing strict production control, uncomfortable behind-the-scenes conditions, and a culture that did not always match the show's on-screen warmth, including accounts like that of an audience member who claimed participants were instructed to behave in very specific ways and avoid overshadowing the host. And while these testimonies contributed to a broader discussion about workplace culture and entertainment, it is important to separate those documented complaints from the more extreme claims now circulating, because allegations about toxic work environments were investigated and addressed publicly, whereas claims linking Ellen to unrelated tragedies or labeling her in extreme terms are not supported by verified evidence and should be treated with caution. To understand why comments from Jim Caviezel are getting attention, people often look back at Ellen DeGeneres' past, especially her relationship with Hetch in the late 1990s, when Hetch was a rising star coming off major projects like Donnie Brasco alongside Al Pacino, and at that time, publicly being in a same-sex relationship carried serious career risks. Yet Anne openly supported Ellen, attending red carpets and speaking about their relationship despite the potential fallout. In Hollywood,
You are our best dressed couple this year.
No, thank you.
Yes, we're very grateful for that award. Well, we know that your Emmy meant a lot and all. I mean, come on, a big year, but the Golden Hanger, significantly more emotional.
The Emmy is like, I don't even know where that is. The Golden Hanger is right on the mantle. We were crying for days.
And now, who are we wearing tonight?
Well, we are wearing Pamela Dennis, and we are wearing Boy.
for a period, their relationship appeared strong and deeply committed, but reports from biographies and industry insiders later described it as intense and emotionally consuming. And eventually Ellen pulled back, with many attributing that shift to industry pressure and fear of losing opportunities, leading to a painful breakup that left Anne in a difficult position. Though it is important to note that much of this is based on retrospective accounts and interpretations rather than confirmed motives from Ellen herself.
Ellen was far from nice. We're out there for years. What was your reaction to the toxic workplace controversy?
I felt that it was in the hands of the people who needed to speak their truth. I hadn't spoken to Ellen in years, and I feel that the stories that need to be listened to are being told.
Did the stuff about her being emotionally abusive to her staff ring true to you?
Emotionally abusive is a container for our actions that we've not healed. And unfortunately, the abusive environment was something that I understood.
After the breakup, Anne Heche went through a very public personal crisis that was widely reported at the time, including an incident in Fresno where she was found disoriented and later hospitalized, followed by a long recovery during which she rebuilt her life, continued acting, and started a family with James Tupper, before the tragic car crash on August 5, 2022, in Mar Vista, which led to her death. And while her life story includes both success and struggle, there is no verified evidence connecting these events to Ellen DeGeneres beyond their past relationship, even though online discussions sometimes attempt to link them together.
Here, LA City Fire Department, I got to give it to them right off the bat. The men and women from this fire department, some of the most amazing. Vehicle into a structure, then that car catches fire. And when we say into a structure, I mean all the way in, almost coming out the other side. This house out here on Walgrove, right at the cross of Brookhaven, at Preston, you can see that T intersection. The best we can figure, that vehicle was on this street and made its way across, not stopping ever, through those hedges, through the front door, or through that front wall of this home, and lodged itself almost in the back. Then it caught fire. LA City Fire Department arriving here very quickly.
Anne's car suddenly sped through an intersection, jumped a curb, and slammed straight into a two-story home. The impact was so violent that the house practically swallowed the vehicle, trapping her inside. For nearly 45 minutes, firefighters. She was still alive, but barely holding on. Days later, Anne Heche died in the hospital. Toxicology reports later showed inactive drug metabolites, meaning past use, not active intoxication at the time. That is the official version. But online, people started asking questions. Could the car itself have malfunctioned or even been manipulated, considering modern vehicles are essentially computers? On wheels, some engineers say remote interference is technically possible, though unproven. Her final film, The Girl in Room 13, focused on human trafficking. That alone sparked theories suggesting she may have known too much. To be clear, there is no evidence supporting that. And then there was Ellen DeGeneres' response. Minimal, brief, almost detached. No deep tribute, no visible emotion, no acknowledgement of the woman who once played a major role in her life.
That's Ellen DeGeneres, spotted out in public for the first time since her ex, Anne Heche, crashed her car into a home in LA.
Have you spoken to Anne Heche at all since her accident?
If not,
Do you want to...
we're not in touch with each other, so I wouldn't know.
For someone who built an empire around the phrase, "be kind," that silence spoke louder than anything she could have said. And it only fueled more suspicion. Anne Heche is just one name in a growing list that people continue to connect back to Ellen's orbit. Kat died in a brutal car crash, one that still raises questions to this day. Her Mercedes reportedly slammed into a tree and split apart in a way that some described as unnatural. Her own sister later claimed the vehicle looked like it had been tampered with, almost as if it had been compromised before impact. Investigators officially ruled it an accident, but skeptics pointed to the lack of skid marks and the unusual damage as reasons to doubt that conclusion, even recalling that she drove past the crash site without stopping. Emergency. Soon after, Stephen Twitch Boss, Ellen's longtime DJ and close colleague, died suddenly at just 40 years old. This time, Ellen responded with emotion, sharing heartfelt tributes and calling him pure light. But that contrast only made people question even more. Why warmth here, but distance before? Whether coincidence or something deeper, the pattern alone has been enough to keep the conversation alive. And now with Jim Caviezel speaking out and claiming he knows what goes on behind the scenes, those questions are only getting louder.